Yeah. You too?
Oh, okay. I think now we're live.
All right, we're live. All right. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Last minute live for talking about the Willow
Surprise!
trailer. Yeah, this dropped on the same day as our episode of Ignore the Bird, Follow the River, where we talked to Alan Varney, and I just think that's pure synchronicity. And so yeah, we had to get on here and talk about what we saw in the trailer because there is a lot packed into a very short period of time. um, and yeah, I've made a couple of like posts about it on social media already, and I'm still like deep into the speculative territory here, which we can only really exist in at the moment because we've only just seen, what's it, a minute long, 2 minute trailer?
I think it's about a minute and a half. Pretty standard for
Yeah,
teaser trailers.
right. So, yeah, I've got. So I think I want to start off talking about like the elements of nonlinear storytelling that I think are present within the trailer. Um, Specifically, Willow. Willow we see in the trailer multiple times, which I can't be happier to see Warwick back in the role that I first knew him in and was just so foundational to who I am. It's so cool to see him back in that costume, back into that character. And we see him at two different points. We see him, there are multiple different points, but we see him with dark hair, brown hair, where it almost looks like they may have done a little bit of aging down, either with prosthetics or digitally. But then we also see further on, more in the trailer, with him with white or silver hair, implying like there is definitely either. I mean, I don't think they're going to do a passage of time that deep within 8 episodes, but even more to the point that I think that there's going to be some nonlinear storytelling elements.
Yeah. Well, they definitely have quite a lot to catch us up on. So I expect the first episode's probably going to be like 90% exposition. That's what I imagine. Just to kind of, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are seeing Willow for the first time, so they have no idea what anything is about, and they have no idea why they should care yet.
Yeah, and even if you have seen the movie, you don't know all that much. I mean, especially about like um, General Kale's mask we see
Oh
in the
yeah.
early parts of the trailer, and the implication of General Kale's mask not broken, not cut in half, is another reason why I think there might be some elements of nonlinear storytelling, or going back into the past, maybe even in dream sequences or something of that nature, um, and yeah, catching us up on even further back into the story because Kale's mask is chopped up by Mad Mardigan during their fight. So his fully formed mask, if it's in the past, would be going before the film takes place or during the course of the film, of course.
There is the chance that this is a new mask.
Yes, that's another theory I was having, was that if it's not an element of nonlinear storytelling or flashbacks or something of that nature, it's someone who knew of Kale or read of Kale, something like that, is using his old mask as like a symbol. Like they've either made a new one, because it does look a bit shinier, a bit
Yeah.
less like it's made of actual skull, than General Kale's mask in the '87 film. But yeah, it's definitely a possibility that this isn't something from the past. It's something in the current timeline where someone is using Kale as a symbol for evil, essentially.
All right. So
Because yeah, there's sorry, there's
I'm
just
just taking a look and seeing who has popped in already. Yeah, that's right. I can see you over
oh
there. Say if you're here, say hi in chat.
yeah, I'm not even looking at the chat. I should open up Twitch and
I'm
say
looking at the
hey.
chat. That's my job. That's
Yeah,
why my
okay,
name's got
fair
producer
enough.
next to it.
I love it. I love it. All right, well, got my. I at least can read it now. Um, okay. Um, got my media down. But yeah, so the element of Kale's mask, and I think what's interesting is we talk about the trailer's whole narrative or narration is the the world is balanced, good and evil, and when it becomes out of whack, out of balance, the universe corrects itself. We're heading into the unknown, and such and so forth. And that's a really interesting thing, because it's more into potentially like Kale being some kind of figure that pops back up within this film or this sequel series. Although it's also totally possible that just because Kale is one of the most iconic elements of the original film, it's like, he's on most of the covers. He's like,
it could
that
just
costume.
be done for visual effect. That's true.
Yeah, put it in there. Make sure that we see it so that we can go, oh yeah, I remember that.
They could just be putting it in as an Easter egg for sure. But I hope that it plays into the story a little bit, at least. Like, when I saw that, what I figured, well, at least what my theory is exactly like you were saying, like how everything is kind of cyclical, it needs to balance itself out. And, so, like, maybe it's like a symbol of new evil rising. Because, wherever evil is vanquished, there's a vacuum now.
Yes. Although we do know that there's going to be the trailer implies some sort of conflict that isn't just like there's a couple of images where everything's so quick, but
I know, they were very, very short, quick cuts.
There's a quick snippet where they cut to almost like some kind of ritual being performed by almost like, they look like they're covered in blood, like almost like corpsey kind of flesh. This person who's like, writhing on the floor. And it definitely kind of like gives you that, this might be some element of the evil contingent, or, the bad element, the unsavory element within the sequel series. That we also see kind of like an undead element coming about with, there's a character in a veil early on in the trailer. You get a quick cut of this character in a black veil, very dark, covered in shadow. It kind of looks like somebody who might be like an undead, but it sort of, like, the vibe it was giving me was kind of like Bavmorda. And it's obviously, it's not Gene Marsh, but that was the vibe I was kind of getting. Maybe because of Bavmorda's like dark cowl that she wears from her crown.
Let me see if I can get the trailer pulled up and get it streaming to you and to the people watching. If my computer wants to cooperate, but I'll try and do that, because then we can actually go by and like through it and like pause and talk about a section, talk about a section.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
I just need everything to cooperate. We're still pretty new at streaming, so I'm working with some slightly aged equipment.
I have watched it like 100 times already. So I have it pretty firmly in my memory. No, it's been out a couple of hours. It's only a minute and a half, so I've watched it. I'm exaggerating.
Is it just like on constant loop?
I've watched it over and over and over again, taking notes and noticing different things every time. There's so much, and so much goes by so quickly that I just, but yeah, I couldn't help but like pause it and write down a note and look at this element. Kind of like there's that image I was telling you about where Willow's standing there at the bank of a lake, and to his left is like this big fortress or castle, and out on the lake is an island. And I just think personally that it looks an awful lot like Ben Rizal's island. And if you're aware of like the geography of Motherworld or whatever and how it's all laid out, Tirzleen is actually right next to that lake. So it's totally possible we're getting a different view of the lake from Tirzleen, Willow standing out on it thinking back, or maybe for some reason needs to go back to Ben Rizal's island. I don't know. Anybody, if you have theories or
Oh
something
yeah,
that you
pop
really
them
thought
into
was
chat.
interesting about it,
Like any comments
absolutely
whatsoever. Get them in there.
hit us.
That's what I'm here for.
We want to
I'll
know.
read for you. Let me just get this. I think I can get it framed up. Did they shoot this trailer for like IMAX? Because it's super wide. The aspect ratio is really wide.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how that plays in most people's houses. You know.
Need one of those
I know
curved screens.
Right. Yeah. No, our laptop like is how we watch our Disney Plus, and we hook that up to a HDMI adapter that we plug into our TV. But the issue with that comes with formatting a laptop screen into our widescreen TV from like 10 years ago. So we always have to like kind of go with the worst or the better of two bad options, you know?
Malcav in chat says that they haven't seen the trailer yet. I'm working on getting it up so we can go through it piece by piece. We can probably play it once through just to kind of like watch it one more time with everybody, and then we will we'll start breaking it down a little bit and analyzing. So let me go. I'm just getting things set up. You go ahead, Weston. You talk.
Yeah. No. I was talking about, so yeah, saying the Willow by the river, so, or by the lake. You know, I really hope that they, whatever that image is, it did get my imagination going, thinking back to, you know, like, that island and how significant it is in the original film. And not to mention we see, near the end of the trailer, which, okay, so we're going on the trailer. I'll shut up. That's awesome.
Yeah, hold on, I gotta get it set up. There. Yeah, sorry, I totally blocked your face. Could have done that to mine.
No, it's fine. Don't sweat it. Don't sweat it.
Just pop that down in the bottom there. And then let me share my screen to you, and hopefully that doesn't mess up where the cameras are right now. Because I don't think I need to... That one. Yeah, go live. And then I think I can tell it not to show my screen share.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes. Confirm. Confirm. Stream has been hidden. Yeah, there.
You're Weston now.
Okay, we should be back now. Sorry, everybody. Doing this on the fly. I wasn't expecting to stream today.
Yeah, I couldn't stop thinking about it and hit Sam up last minute because I knew that you know, if there was I needed a platform to just ramble about this for a while. TikTok was just not doing it for me.
Should I have captions on for the first run or off?
I'm interested because there was that section. Okay, I really want to know at around, I think it's like 9 seconds in, there's this group of people all standing there. Let me know what you think they say. Everybody listening, let me know what you think because I need to know.
All right, we're going to watch it through the first time. Ready? Here we go. Sorry it's so tiny for everyone.
There is a story of a child destined to be an empress.
I think my computer's struggling.
And the unlikely hero who would protect her.
There is a balance between all things. Light and shadow. Good and evil. When that balance is upset, the universe corrects.
Yeah, very Harry Potter shot right there.
Oh, this. Okay.
The world needs you again. It needs your magic.
We have there are a few different Nelwyns, huh? That are coming back.
Yeah. We do see more than just Willow.
Oh my gosh. Computer,
That's
why?
where we must go.
Yeah. Into the unknown. I love it. I love it. Yeah, so that's the trailer.
That is the trailer.
And
yeah, you go ahead. I'm gonna put the trailer on mute because oh my gosh, you've rotated.
oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I'll put it on
Better?
slow-mo. Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
And yes, Malcolm, this is exciting. I am super stoked for this. Let's go
so
quarter speed.
there's that group. In like a courtroom, they're all standing there together, and they cheer something that doesn't show up in the captions. But I need to know what it is because I have a couple of theories. I don't want to say what I think it is yet. I want to see what everyone else thinks they're saying.
All right. Do you want to tackle that first, or that way we can do the slow-mo after? Because then I need to switch it to a different speed.
No, it's totally fine. Go.
Okay.
We can just kind of go through it piece by piece too.
Okay. So if you want to do that work for us, the trailer is on YouTube, on the Disney Plus, Lucasfilms, etc. Like all of the places where Disney puts out information. So yeah, if someone can find that for us, just send us a message. We have all of the social medias, so that way we can do a little reporting on it. All right, nice and slow here. And this is without sound, so we can, because it's painful. Was the woman that drew the sword Alora?
No.
No, because Alora was like a strawberry blonde.
Well, it's not necessarily totally can't rule it out kind of thing. Like,
that's true.
Especially when you're a baby, your hair tends to change as you get older. I had my brother was like strawberry blonde when he was born, but as he got older, his hair is basically as dark as mine. Well, now it's white, but
okay, hold on. Let's go back.
Oh yeah.
Pause. Wait. Go back.
So this image here is really interesting too, though, because I have no idea what that is. Like, we can only speculate.
Is that an isthmus?
Oh, just after this,
like
the like
bars.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
this
is like our
where
big
that
opening.
Location is?
It could be. I think it's a Land's End is the site that Eric and the Galadorn soldiers were going to. Right as we meet them, when they're passing by Mad Mardigan's crow's cage, they're going to fight the battle at Land's End. And at Land's End, it's like I don't know if you've seen it's like a big cliff face that they essentially had this battle on that faces the ocean. That could potentially be that.
Okay.
But that's also, I don't think, in the Shadow books, and it seems like this is actually drawing some stuff from the Shadow books. I mean, the thing about all the young people in this cast so far is we don't really have many names for many of them. Jade is Ellie Kenneman's character, but most of these characters are, just like actor. If you search them on IMDb, I even have IMDb Pro in most of these characters. They don't even have Joan Wally in the IMDb yet on the cast. So the trailer told us who was in this movie more than any other source has so far.
That's interesting. They're playing the cards really close to their chest for this one, then.
I love it, and I hope I hope they keep that up.
Yeah, what kind of riggery is going on? All right,
well,
let's go to the next shot.
Yeah.
All right, next shot. So you get a little underscore music during that part.
Yeah, the James Horner score returns.
Yeah.
This.
Ruins, just expansive ruins. You can see like the two two like Colossus statues right there.
And as far as anything I've read, I've never seen a reference to anything like this. This is going to be fully a creation of the sequel series, as far as I can tell.
Very cool. So, do you think that they're keeping a lot of the information that Alan Varney wrote from the source book?
Officially, Lucasfilm has said that the only canon Willow shit is the movie. Anything else doesn't count. And that's along the same lines as what they say about Star Wars.
Okay.
Anything that's not like one of the films or one of the TV shows is not canon.
Mhm.
So it's hard to say. They almost certainly will use elements of it, but they're also going to be drawing elements from. I'm sure they've drawn elements from the Shadow books as well, from all of the different elements of backstory that Waylon Drew might have written into the history of Motherworld or Anduin.
Oh shit! We have reporting from Malkov. He says that the toast that's going on, they're saying to the something, and then it kind of trails off. It might be deliberately cut before they get to the thing that they're cheering for.
Now, yeah,
it's so short. It's so short.
I heard two something as well. Like they're toasting two, but I can't tell, and it's Sorsha that we see. I'm sorry, we're getting ahead of ourselves a bit, but I did want to talk about this.
Okay, so we saw the shot of the city, and we have the text. There's a tale of a child destined to be an empress. That's kind of going back to our original movie.
Oh, I have a gripe with this.
You have a gripe with this? The forest or the
no,
callback?
Elora Danan was never prophesized to be an empress. Not as far as anything I'm aware of. Elora Danan was prophesized to unseat Bavmorda, not take her place.
Okay, yeah, that's true. I always assumed that it would be a kind of like rightful heir to the throne sort of thing. So we had a beautiful shot of a forest that didn't give us much, and now we have the shot panning in to Warwick Davis with this fucking... The staff looks so good! Oh, hold on.
It looks so
Let's
dope.
pause before we get any further than that. It's showing a ton of stuff right now. Stop! Okay, going back. I'll find the spot.
No, yeah, I did want to say that forest is I'm almost positive that's Sherlindria's Grove. And I'm almost positive because there's so many references to Sherlindria's wand within the trailer.
Yeah, there are. I also know... Ooh, goosebumps. So, yeah, I know also you've had to look at these trees a lot recently when you were working on the artwork.
Yeah, it looks the same kind of the foliage, the surroundings. It all looks very similar to Sherlindria's Grove.
All right. Yeah,
but this is the image I'm talking about.
Hero. Here,
I love the
pause on
staff.
this. Yeah, it's
But what's
cool.
fascinating is here's the lake. Here's the lake. To the left is a castle. Out on the water is an island.
Is it a lake or is it just flooded? Because I'm looking at this barrel over here, and it's...
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's partially submerged.
That does tend to happen. Lakes sometimes will, they'll rise and they'll ebb and they'll flow, especially with how much precipitation is going on. I wouldn't say it's impossible for it to be that same lake, especially considering the fact that, I mean, it seems like they're trying to give us that visual reference. That's just my interpretation, and I'm just speculating. But yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting.
All right, let's move forward. We get that beautiful shot right there, and now we have presumably Kale's helmet, in one piece. looking a lot nicer than it did in the original movie.
Yeah, much shinier.
Malkov's
Yes,
is very PNW vibes. And do we know where they're
Pacific
filming? I mean, I always
Um,
want to say New Zealand because New Zealand's glorious for filming fantasy, but it could be a few places. Go ahead.
Willow was one of the first places to shoot fantasy in New Zealand. Or first movies to shoot fantasy in New Zealand, and they also shot in, I think it might have been Wales, but I think somewhere in England as well. And then they also shot some stuff in, if I'm not mistaken, Marin County, possibly Shasta County.
Oh.
I know that they did some California shoots.
Well, yeah. George Lucas loves shooting at Muir because it's so close to where he lives.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a very convenient location. It's also gorgeous, and exactly one of those kinds of locations that Lucas loves to revisit over and over and over again. So it would make sense that we go back. But yeah, General Kale, man, we talked a little bit about it. Could be flashback. It could be somebody utilizing this reformed or newer version of the helmet to strike that same fear into the people that would have that memory of this warlord. This absolute mass murderer in General Kale. That would definitely work as fear tactics, I'm pretty sure.
It would certainly freak me out to, like, if this is something new and they knew the legend of what had happened previously, to see that again.
Right.
And then we have the wand, which, like,
Wand
I
in a box.
recognized right away because
Wand
I
in a
ended up doing the artwork for our release of the stats for the wand. If you're into D&D, we do have stats for the wand on the Nerdcrafty website. You just have to go to media, ignore the bird.
Definitely give it a look. I love this piece so much. It looks. I really hope that they actually still have the original from the first film, and that this is like that prop history surviving.
Oh man, that would be tough. An early movie like that, actors love to take memorabilia just to remember things. Something like that would be so easy to pocket.
Well, maybe Warwick did. Maybe Warwick took it, and they were like, "Hey, Warwick, could we maybe get that back, buddy?"
Yes, if you put me in the show.
Yeah, right.
That was his leverage.
But I love that it's presented like this, like it's been sitting there for a while, like it's this artifact, of a past, a bygone time when things were bad. But
yeah, it very much reminds
all of a sudden,
me of like in the newer Star Wars series when you first see Luke's lightsaber for the first time, because like they open up the box and there it is. It's a very similar shot.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's to draw like some parallels?
Yeah. You know what else is interesting? We'll get there soon. But speaking of Star Wars Willow parallels, I have thoughts. We'll get there very soon.
There's a big one then coming. All right. So we've got the wand. We've got some hands reaching out, and then what was that?
Yeah, the hands reaching out. I sat there and paused on every frame of that. I have no.
Oh, it's a face.
Oh, but the veil. Yeah, the face with the veil. The face looks all necrotic, like maybe an undead. I was talking a little bit about this. Maybe
just like something that came out
Bad
of a
Mortar.
swamp.
Totally. Could just be like some kind of like new villain, something like that. Maybe just a monster. But yeah, definitely with the veil reminded me of Bad Morta a little bit.
It doesn't look angry though. Like it doesn't have like pronounced ridges for the eyes that would make you think that it's coming to attack. This is something that it's probably not moving very fast, is what I imagine in this moment.
Yeah, freshly risen or something like that, is what the impression I'm getting, yeah.
Yeah. But there definitely is some focus in the eyes. Like they're looking at something. Okay, moving forward. Go past that. Cuts to black.
Oh, the music.
Who would protect her? Yeah, everything's a little bit slowed down because we're watching it slow-mo. We get the shot of Warwick turning to camera. We get to see his grizzled face. He looks so much more like a dad now than he did when they filmed Willow.
But this right here, I'm pretty sure he's still aged down, or maybe using some kind of prosthetic. This is when his hair is darker and brown, and he's wearing the same outfit. There's even a dark dressed figure directly next to him.
And yeah, I can tell you that having worked on a lot of garments now in the historical eras that are evoked from Willow, that looks like a very similar cut to Mad Mardigan's pant leg.
Thank you. I know that they have talked about Val not being in this, like, openly, but you never know. Like,
well,
that was a while ago.
At the end, too, where it's like, you see, it evokes the silhouette of Val Kilmer standing there. Okay.
I really hope Val comes back. I don't want to get my hopes up on it because I don't want to put that kind of pressure on that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's been through a lot, and I just want him. I would rather him be healthy. If he can only do Top Gun this year, I don't want him to. I would hate for anyone to feel pressure like that.
Curious. I follow Val Kilmer on the Nerdcrafty Twitter page. Let's see if he's actually put out any information about it, because that might be a giveaway whether he's working with it or not.
Well, he's been in the press a lot about, well, not him specifically, but they talk about
Maverick,
him.
yeah.
Yeah, totally.
One day to the Top Gun launch. The other thing he's gotten really into is NFTs, so.
Bummer.
Lots of reasons to make art. Yeah, nothing about Willow.
Right.
Nothing Willow at all. So I imagine that if there is something that is flashbacky like that, that's body double or a look-alike.
Yeah. And it could just be like, someone we're shooting vaguely for a couple of scenes until we get the reveal that, oh, it's not Val.
Oh, yeah. Malkov makes a good point. They could deep fake Val Kilmer in, like they did with Luke.
Well, yeah, that's basically what they're doing in Top Gun. Not like his entire body, but that's what essentially they're doing with his voice, because he's lost his, his ability to, yeah.
All right. Let's move on. But yeah, I wouldn't put it past them to deep fake Val Kilmer's old face in to do flashback things.
I'm sorry, this shot of Warwick, he is so cute! What a hunk!
I think he looks better now than he ever has. Like, he has aged well.
The green blue magic flowing through the locust. Yeah, dude. I love it.
Slow fade out. What's the next shot?
Very
okay, so here's the scene where everyone's rising, holding their drinks up. Yeah, let's pause right here. This is a beautiful room. It looks like up on one of the arches you can see something that looks kind of like a world tree.
Mm-hmm.
You have an 8-pointed star in the background as well. I'm trying to just see what these symbols are and see if we can figure out anything about them. There's also fully armored knights off to the side, and then one with his helmet off.
Now, we didn't see this image anywhere in Tears Lean that I can remember, the symbol. So I don't think this is Tears Lean. I kind of hope it is because of theories I'll get into in a sec, but I think that it might be Galadorn. Galadorn is where the knights come from in Willow. I mean, Tears Lean, of course, had its own standing army, etc., etc. But I think it might be Galadorn. It's totally possible. And it could be that's what they're saying, to Galadorn.
Malcolm says DILF.
Oh, total Dill. Absolutely.
It actually got held by the mod, the auto mod for that one. It's
Oh, no.
We can say DILF. We can
That's
say
allowed.
DILF on our channel. It's vague enough. Alright. So yeah, they're doing their toast. There's a
Because it
balance
definitely doesn't
between
sound like
all
they're saying...
things.
Oh, sorry.
Look who's there. Look who made it to the party. She looks good.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad that we get more of Sorsha. So we don't even have her credited on IMDb yet as Sorsha,
Mm-hmm.
as last I checked, which was
But
a couple
she got
of hours
the first
ago.
line in the trailer. It had her
Exactly.
name in the captions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you don't have to be sorry about the DILF thing. We like DILFs here.
We do. We stand. But yeah, so this is, I think, that same room. And that's why I think that it might be, rather than being Galadorn, might be Tir Asleen.
Mm.
But those people are not saying to Tir Asleen. For sure, there's too many syllables. What I think it's possible what they're saying is, I don't know, I don't want to say it, but it almost sounds like they're saying to Anduin.
Huh. We'll have to play that again with sound at the end of this to check that, because that would be a major confirmation and definitely something Tom would want to know about. Is that part of one of his TikToks?
Oh,
I'm sure
yeah,
he's been like going crazy.
Yeah, Tom was the first person I've actually met IRL who's been like, well, I mean, at least online, that has said that, yeah, fully convinced Anduin is essentially a planet in the Star Wars universe. I am fascinated by this moment, and I desperately want to know if that's what they're saying, because it would make sense if that's what they're saying, and they're definitely not saying to Motherworld, but...
You know what, after we get off of stream, I will throw that into one of my audio programs and see if I can slow it down, clean it up to get some clean audio from it.
Oh, friggin' perfect. Yeah, after stream sounds great.
Yeah. I agree, Malcolm.
Yeah,
it does look like they're toasting to someone, but it could also be a general toast to the world as well. If you happen to be like in the presence of someone who is in the seat of it, and with Mortagon, her daughter would have succeeded her, I assume.
So to the Queen also sounds like to Anduin. It also sounds like a total possibility for what they... Yeah, it's totally possible that's what they're saying.
We might be reading way too much into it, but maybe not. We don't know yet. Okay, so the next shot, we have this... I have to assume that this is a doll. It looks... This is either the head of a doll or a potato.
Oh, maybe it's the size or something, but I think that's a skull and a snake, right?
Oh, is it a skull? It's hard to tell. Just because, like, the texturing here made it look like baby hairs. Yeah, and then we have, like, there's a few different snakes there. There's, like, a pile of snakes on what I thought was a baby doll, but maybe it's just a skull. And then, like, a bunch of fabric. But it's meant to evoke the look of a baby, for sure. And then we have...
Baby... Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then we have walking through... So where do we think this dark tunnel is? And do we know what the symbol means?
Dark tunnel. Oh, sorry. I'm waiting. I'm still watching the trailer through the stream on Twitch, so I'm like waiting for it to catch up.
This is why I shared my screen.
I know. I'm being silly. Okay.
Malcolm says baby skull. So yes, it could be a baby's skull, which would again evoke the original legend from the movie.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay, so now I'm watching. So you're talking about this this odd doorway, maybe,
Yeah, they
or
walked
other
down some
symbol?
kind of, it looked like possibly part natural but mostly constructed tunnel. And then this looks like a following shot because they're holding the same torch. Whoever this
Um,
person is.
it's interesting the similarity that this symbol has to a famous symbol used by very bad people.
Mm-hmm. That was appropriated. That symbol was appropriated from some other religion and then got tainted. But yeah.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yes, it does slightly resemble something of that nature.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they've curved some of this.
Yeah.
It almost looks like, to me, and this is because the last podcast that I went into deep analysis was Wheel of Time, but it almost looks like two different types of magic. Like one really harsh one, one really flowing one.
Lightning and water, or lightning and air, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. It's definitely it has that like runic symbolism in it. Yeah, I can see that totally.
And yeah, this totally could be a prison Malkav. We don't know. It's very ominous the way that they've set this up. And this is one of the new cast members.
Who looks like our kind of like our warrior, you know? Him and Ella Kenneman's character tend to be like in those action sequences. Whenever people are fighting, they're usually at the front of it.
What is happening here?
Can we go a little further? What is this? I don't think I paused on this image. Figure all of that out earlier.
Is that it's something flying? Like
a
dragon or something.
This moment, yes. Okay.
Yeah, it could also be a vault.
Can we go a little further though?
Go a little further. Is it an eagle? It's got bird-like wings.
Do it? Yeah, it does look really big. So it's totally possible that it's like a dragon, large eagle, some kind of because we do see later in the trailer there's other winged characters, but this image definitely made me think that if air travel, flight is more of something they're dealing with in this, we're going to be spending some time looking up, and if they were going to tease some kind of Star Wars connection, I keep feeling like it might happen in the air.
Look at that beautiful effing galaxy up there.
Mm-hmm.
It almost looks like... Okay, Illuminati alert. Because I see a pyramid in the back. A very triangular thing with like a detached triangle above it. Do you see that too? Or is that just like my eyes playing tricks on me with the clouds?
No, I see what you're talking about. Absolutely.
We have confirmed Illuminati for Willow.
No, this composition is so killer, and it reminds me a lot of like what they would do in like those big sweeping wide shots we would get in the original. It's bringing me right back there. It's so perfect. It's so spot on, dude. Another thing Pete Jackson used a lot in the Hobbit movies. the Willow wide shot.
All right. Yeah.
You're gonna steal from the great. Steal from someone. Steal from the greats. That's all I'm saying.
We should definitely go in and look at this, because if they were gonna sneak in something Star Wars, this would be the shot I would sneak it in on. You got the far off galaxy. It would have something that could be backlit. If we get a silhouette, that could confirm it.
Yeah, it would make so much sense for Disney to be like, well, if we're gonna put this much money into it, we might as well fucking tie it into Star Wars.
The other question I have about this shot is, do we know what city they're looking at?
I mean, it could be any of them. I want to say, like, what if this was like, because we get a lot of those wide shots as we're leaving the Nelwyn village. What if they used this big wide opening, like, establishing shot as our return to the Nelwyn village, and this is what it's developed into?
Wow. Yeah, they've gotten very, very industrious.
I don't know. Just a theory. I'm just speculating.
Okay. And then the next shot is we get our cast, the new ones, looking at something. And that looked like the same hall from when everyone was toasting.
Mm-hmm. Could totally be that same room. Absolutely.
Yeah, the stone walls look very similar. The architecture looks very similar.
Lighting matches fairly well.
There's a tassel up at the top, and you can see just the tip of the red banner that was hanging in that room.
Oh, yeah. I can see it. Yeah.
Yep. I would say that's the same place. Probably from either earlier in the day or the next day, judging from the lighting.
And they're all dressed, none of them are dressed like they're gonna go fight something, or go on a long walk.
Well,
they're
that's
all
not
dressed
true. The one
fairly
guy in
well.
the back has pauldrons on.
Oh, you're damn right. Okay.
So one person is prepared to take a hit to just the shoulder. Then the next shot...
A young blonde.
A young blonde lady.
I mean, it's totally possible that they're gonna, like, they just haven't named Alora yet. I could see this being Alora.
It could be, yeah.
I'm
a little surprised, though, if they would hire an actress to portray Alora and not at least have her tint the hair slightly red. Because it was so striking.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree aesthetically, absolutely. And I feel like that probably would have been... Yeah, I mean, if it was, that's probably the direction they would have gone. But there's also totally the possibility of the misdirect, of casting Ellie Kennerman as Jade, this red-haired character, prominent in the series, advertised as such, and then have it be a fake out, to lead us in to the series, but still deliver that subversion of expectations that we expect from media.
Yeah, my problem is Marvel never listens to me. I've had so many good ideas for the Marvel series, and they just don't go those directions. I'm like, oh, but that would have been good, and the comics didn't do that. Oh well, I guess we don't need to be surprised.
Right.
Yeah, so we get this on the shot, and the words underneath her, good and evil. I wonder if that's like implicating that she's going to bring balance. And then we get this. This looks like, again, like one of the, very similar to like the Veiled People, like kind of a feel, right?
Yeah, they're doing some kind of ritual here, and we're seeing this. Remember this tone, this red-orange tone.
Hanging onto a tree.
That's that same character.
Yeah.
More of this red-orange tinted glow, but this is new characters. Neither of them know one, it looks like. Both Daikinis.
Yeah. One in the front is definitely not Mad Mardigan, unless Mad Mardigan is not wearing pants in this scene.
Which I can only hope.
We can see like this light coming down through the center as well, which makes me think this is maybe tied to some kind of ritual chamber.
Maybe even a forge. The big glowing yellow kind of backlighting this character in front of it.
Yeah, and there's a very shapely character, whoever this is in the back. You can see glowing through the pants. You can actually see their silhouette.
Oh, interesting.
It's light enough fabric that you can see through it.
Thank you for pointing that out. I would not have noticed that.
It's very National Treasure, the look of this shot.
I was thinking Desolation of Smog, the big forge there.
Okay, yeah. So presumably this is the exact shot after, and this is the person that is standing there who is not Mad Mardigan.
Our cute Mad Mardigan surrogate.
Yeah. We can see that it's light outside behind them, and it looks like there's some kind of statue out in that courtyard. It almost looks like it could be a face.
Oh, I want it to be a statue of Bavmorda, and this is like the bad guy's hideout or something, and this guy's got captured or something. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. This could be Tyr's Lean, you know?
Malkov in chat says, so their magic is really just the Force. That is one of the prevailing theories right now. If we were to try and link... Yeah. If we were trying to link Star Wars
They're both called
and
the Great
Willow.
Mystery. The magic in the world of Willow is called the Great Mystery. In more than one Star Wars movie, they call the Force the Great Mystery.
So now we go to this really epic landscape that could maybe be related to where we just were.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's the same character down there in the sword fight in the dark colors.
I could see it, yeah. And then this
what is
person
that
in the iron
mask
mask.
about?
I love it. They've got this cool weapon. It's like
Yeah, let's see if we can get a
like
closer
claws
look
or something,
on...
right?
Well, this is a sword right up top there. That's a sword just being held at an angle. Let's see if we can get a closer look at the hilt as it comes down. I'll try and pause it. It's like a rapier hilt. So this is like saber type weapon.
Right. Which we didn't see a lot of other than wielded by Sorsha.
Yeah, that's true. That could even be Sorsha's sword.
Well, Sorsha's got a wavy.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Her blade is very different. You know what? This could be Allura.
Be interesting.
Because, you know, I have to assume that Allura was being taken care of by Sorsha and Mad Mardigan, right? She was left in their care. So if she was trained in the sword, she might model the hilt of her sword after Sorsha's because it would be the type that she's used to. And the hilt really matters when you're doing sword fighting.
Absolutely, as well as weight of the sword. If you're used to using a heavy two-handed blade, and you go to try and pick up a saber and wield it the same way, you're definitely going to have a lot of a bad time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I could totally see this being Allura. The question would be then, why is she hiding her face? And we get the superhero landing jump, just feet running.
Our main cast, it looks like.
Yeah, but what were they running from? I wanted it to get closer so I could see better. It looks like something out of, like, Dark Souls.
Oh, I just thought it was one of them. I didn't even realize that was what was chasing them.
No, it looks like it's got a cage on its head. Right?
Fascinating.
Can I bump the quality of this up at all? I wanted to see if I can... Nope, 480p is as good as it gets with this one.
Tragic. It's fine. So they're in armor, but they've got a wild cage on their face.
Oh gosh, I want to just go back one frame. One single little frame.
It's interesting because we did see a lot of very elaborate headgear in the original Willow. The chase scene with Mad Mardigan and Willow and Allura brownies on that carriage, that cart, being chased by the Nockmaar soldiers. That sequence has like every person in the Nockmaar army has a different, distinct, wild helmet that they're wearing, and that's not even close to the majority. I mean, Sorsha's got a really wild, rad helmet. Kale's, of course, is iconic. They really went hard on the headgear in Willow, is what I'm trying to say. And it looks like they're going to keep that tradition. And this, I have no idea. This looks like some Lord of the Rings shit that we never deal with in Willow.
Alright, yeah. So, yeah, this is definitely, like... This, to me, looks like a force field. Some kind of magical force field.
With a little entrance.
With a tiny, skinny entrance, yeah.
And the whole, the tagline at the end is into the unknown. This definitely could be like their first steps in or into a new territory near, somewhere within the series, any number of I mean...
Sword check. So we have our red-headed cast member. I am so terrible with actors' names, I feel bad. But we can see her sword hilt right here, and it's very flat. It's much more like a broadsword. Let me go back a little bit, because the group is sitting there, so we might be able to figure some things out. Yeah, this is when they're being ambushed by people that are underneath a lot of moss. Okay, come on. Can't really see very much. It looks like she's the only one there with a sword. It looks like there's maybe one person sitting by this tree. They've got two people off to the left, two in the background or mid-ground, and then the red-headed cast member, and then the person who's sitting next to her. But y'all see the person that's on the tree?
Trolls.
Yeah, I'm trying to...
I love... another interesting connection to the first impression I got of these characters was very much like they're almost like, they're like humanoid creatures that exist on Endor in the Ewok adventure movies. But
I've never seen those.
They're so good. They're my favorite Star Wars movies. But yeah, there's these humanoid creatures that kind of look like apes or some kind of fantasy race that look very similar to these characters.
Malkov is asking, is the redhead Sorsha's daughter and the other one is just adorable?
Yeah, it's remains
possible.
to be seen.
There's so much in the realm of possibility right now.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move forward a little bit more. So they're other Daikini, and they're just helmeted and hidden. We get a big old battle axe. I love this leather work right here. That's fabulous. The chest piece, so good.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we get a totally different sword. This one it looks like it's got serrations on it.
Yeah, and it almost looked like it had a gauntlet attached to its hilt.
Yeah, it's a totally different hilt than Sorsha's sword. Or what we know to be Sorsha's sword.
Yeah,
because it's got it's like a caged hilt.
That's so sick!
Do you think that maybe Sorsha's sword was, the hilt came off? It was divided into two pieces. And then they reset the blade and then put a new blade on the hilt.
I think this blade is different. The serrations go deeper into not deeper, they go further along the blade. Sorsha's kind of start and stop. But in the
it's hard to tell from this
angle.
Though,
it's so cool.
Well, I mean, she is holding it.
Wait, is that the same sword?
That is not the same sword that she pulled.
Okay, so it's a totally different shot.
Yeah, and this is not her old hilt.
No,
that handguard is not the same. This is a new sword.
And it's more like a rapier than a saber.
Yeah. Do you know the difference between rapiers and sabers? I only ask because I took fencing.
Yeah, the rapier is much, it's like wider and has the, I can't remember what they call the tip, but it's got a different, like the rapier is just a small, thin foil or blade.
Yeah, so the rapier is actually, it's a triangular blade. So it's, all three edges of that blade are sharp, so that when you make a hit, it keeps the wound open. It was meant to, like, cause your opponent not to die in that moment, but to get an infection and die afterwards. Whereas a saber is bladed only on one side and possibly part of the tip.
Right, and this is a long, flat blade that's more like, what's the, because it's not like typically a rapier, because it does look like it's bladed on both sides. Is that, it's not a, I can't remember the name of it. It doesn't matter. Ultimately,
basically the difference is with a rapier, it's a piercing type weapon, and like D&D does a really good job of explaining this. And then saber is a slashing.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that this blade is built, I would say it's more in the saber style, and the way that she is wielding it is much more for slashing.
For sure. Yeah. The
Wasn't
universe
Eric's
correct.
blade like that? Oh, that's a good question.
What?
What did Eric's blade look like? Prince Eric?
Prince Eric?
King? King?
Eric Thurbarger, the blonde absolute fucking hunk that was also Ron Howard's brother in Happy Days. Eric's blade was like a gauntlet blade. Yes, it went all the way to like the middle of his forearm, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
And when he dies, Mad Mardigan picks it up and uses that. That's like he delivers the first successful blow against Eric or Kale with that blade. It's a extend.
So we've got...
We love a magic card. Yeah.
Obviously, we've got Cherlindria's wand up in the foreground here. We can see Willow already standing in the background, all fuzzy.
Yeah, this is the most... one of the most compelling shots in the entire trailer to me.
This is the Harry Potter shot.
No. I don't understand what that means.
Oh,
I don't,
look at that face that he's
movies,
making. Oh, because they always, like, whenever they film the wand duels, they love to get that, like, Wild West, like, hand over the weapon shot.
Oh, I get it. Okay, yeah, totally. That spaghetti western vibe. Yeah.
Look at Willow's
facing
face.
off against. Yeah, it's like, and it's Willow facing off against someone holding Cherlindria's wand, and it looks like that same orange-red tinted kind of environment. It's like in a thematic way. Like it's obviously not the same location as that forge, but it does look a little bit like the same kind of tones they were using in that ritual chamber, with that weird bald fleshy person. So this is really fascinating to me. That image with Willow standing off against that wand, Cherlindria's wand.
I am not so sure it's a standoff.
Her wand is red at the tip. It never was red. It was always blue. This is Star Wars rules.
See, I didn't read that as red. I just read that as lighting up.
Yeah, it's like a red-orange light. Like,
And it could just be the tinting of the shot, because everything is that tone.
But every time in the original that Willow uses any magic with the wand, it's this glowing
But
blue.
hear me out. We see the wand earlier in the box being given to someone, assumedly, and they say that they need Willow back for his magic. Now, could this not be a training sequence?
Oh, yeah, no. I could see where you're coming from there. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's because when we get the close-up of his face for the first time, we'll try and pause on it again, it's a look of surprise but it's also not a look of fear.
However, this is also a trailer, and this could be from a completely separate sequence.
It could be, but like let's read the trailer as they're giving it to us. Right, so
No. Never.
See-
Absolutely would
see,
never
this is
do
this
that.
is me this is me wanting to subvert the things again. Like this is what I do with Marvel every time. So like, clearly they want you to think that this is a duel, right? They have it all set up that way. They do all the framing that way. These are the shots that they're showing us. So if they wanted to subvert our expectations, this would be him against someone who is friendly. This would be a training sequence where he is helping someone learn and control their magic.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely, I can see where you're coming from there. Sure.
Yeah, and maybe, it's not a true red, that glow. Maybe it's someone who is struggling between good and bad. That's a theme that
what
they
do we get
really
next?
liked. Oh, yeah, good question. So we get that shot. He lights up the staff. And then we get, the text starts to fall back. This creature.
Right.
Is
So,
it a fish?
I mentioned earlier we were going to talk about, I wanted to talk about this moment. I don't think I said it specifically, but we were talking about Willow standing by the lake. In the original Willow, one of the cutscenes is a encounter that Willow has in between while he's on the lake in that little rowboat, heading away from Fin Raziel's island, and he encounters a boy in the water that turns into a shark, and attacks him. So it's like the first test of his magic in the film. We never get to actually see that sequence in the film because it's cut out. But this is, I doubt like the same creature, but definitely could be a similar kind of magical. Well, it's obviously some kind of fantasy creature, but
the design tells me it's friendly because it's got the big googly eyes and very soft curves.
Totally. And we've got this one of our main cast who's is being approached by it, and they're obviously kind of like making friendly. I think this is really wonderful because it will give us more creatures of the world of Willow, and it's the world building in Willow is some of my favorite elements of it. This world is so full and so rich, even in the original, that filling that out further in the sequel series is something I was really hoping they were going to do, and it looks like they are.
So yeah, we get this. It's almost like a Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them moment. That smile was starting to fade as they cut away.
All right.
Classic action shot. This could be in that like cave structure again. And yeah, you can see in the background there was like some like reddish lava. So you could be completely on top of it with it being a forge. Now what is happening here?
Oh. Fight above the clouds.
Here's this character's name. We have Kit.
Right. And is that some kind of carriage that they're fighting on top of that's like up above the clouds? Like maybe, or is it in water? Sorry, the image, I'm having a hard time reading it.
In water or on snow or sand.
Interesting.
Let's turn off captions for a second so I can take a look at that. It's got a wheel.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it almost looks like a nomad's trailer or cart. We get another shot of Willow.
But Willow with very silvery white hair. His wrinkles a bit more pronounced, maybe even.
Now, I will say that could be a lighting thing, because when you start having graying hair, it picks up light in very different ways. So it could look very dark under one type of lighting, and then like it picks up the translucentness of the light when you're like in more direct sunlight. So I don't know
Sure.
if that could just be a lighting thing, or they could have de-aged him earlier.
Sure.
Okay. What are these guys?
They look like trolls,
They
but their
look like
hair
trolls.
has been replaced. Yeah, we don't have that thick, dark hair. They look slightly less monstrous. They look a little bit more human, like almost like a Neanderthal or proto-human kind of vibes.
Yeah.
But we know in in the lore that trolls were malformed, or like kind of like how like orcs were created. But I love that we're getting back to the trolls, man. Those were, we only saw like 2, but we talked over and over again about how Willow was afraid of trolls. Rannon, I hate trolls.
Then we get someone diving into the water, reaching for
Yes.
someone who is currently stuck there. And then, this was the sweetest moment in the whole trailer, right here. I think that's him getting home after a long journey, because look at that. Did you see that look?
Oh, that's not. Yeah, that's totally not. I was reading that that's that could be like his one of his kids. There's it looks like the right age range. You know what I mean?
For his little girl.
Yeah, Mims.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the face right here, trying to read the emotion in it, and this looks like a homecoming not leaving.
See, I totally was thinking this was like them splitting up. It looks like they're doing a goodbye hug. It almost looks like she's about to leave in a hurry, or maybe Willow's about to leave in a hurry. The way that they hit this embrace so hard. But I could totally see it the opposite as well, where it's like near the end of a journey or something like that as well. I like the idea that they made time in the trailer to talk about the fact that we're gonna get into romantic territory.
Yeah.
That's part of Willow.
Yeah, and we get all of these shots of different couples.
Mm-hmm.
Couples. Go back before it started burning. I'm trying to see what the artwork is.
Yeah, what the hell was it?
It looks like a giant bat with someone riding on its back, and I am not sure what these all are, but it doesn't look good. I think
looks like
there's
it could
that
be
symbol
that same
again.
symbol. Yeah, exactly. And it has that that very that very Reiki kind of
very
aesthetic.
imperialist look.
Yeah.
And of course, we've got the fire lapping up over it. Woomph. So that looks like it was part of a tapestry.
Yeah, I was gonna say tapestry. Yeah, maybe revealing something behind it.
That would be
Who
great.
knows?
Here's that cart again. This is the same cart that they
Yeah.
were fighting on top of.
So I'm having a hard time putting my finger on it, but this actor behind Willow,
Mm-hmm.
behind Warwick, I could be mistaken, but I think he's one of the originals.
Yeah, I think he's one of the original ones that left with him when they had Alora, before they got to Mad
Right.
Mardigan.
But it's not Vonkar, it's not oh my god, I can't remember all their names. I think it's the one that's essentially the most quiet, has no lines. I think has a little bit of stubble. but it looks a lot like that guy.
Yeah.
I thought for a second it was going to be Migosh. I was kind of hoping it would be the actor that played Migosh, but I don't believe that is him. This, okay. So we already saw flying creatures, but this moment gives us a little bit more depth on what those flying creatures might look like, or other creatures in the air might look like.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a transformational sort of thing.
More transformation magic in the world of Willow. Exactly what we're asking for. Exactly what we want.
Yeah, they've changed into a giant bird, I think.
Yeah, dude. And we get the homies. Okay, so this is really important. Because the brownies in the lore live below ground. Live in, what are they called? Burrows. They live all over the world in Anduin or in Motherworld.
These ones have tiny adobe huts.
Well, in the underground world. And this is partially because they are socially maligned. They're seen as less than. They're seen as vermin. And they're sentient people because they're just little. And so that's what's so cool about Willow having this relationship with the brownies in the original film. And what's so cool about this is not only do they have houses now, they're living above ground, they look like they're almost fortified walls, and these people aren't wearing the same kind of aesthetic style that they were wearing in the original film. They look like they have tailored clothes that aren't, just armor and made out of like the spoils of their hunting quests. These look like people that have gone from essentially a hunter-gathering society to a fully thriving, incorporated element of the society of the world in general, which is huge, is such a crazy thing to think about.
I love that they've got a little elevator in the back.
Yeah, dude. Like, this is it's symbolic of the fact that these people have risen up from oppression since the end of the film. Some kind of social progression has taken place since then. And we see this in many places throughout the trailer. But this one hits the hardest for me because the brownies, the brownies didn't get, like, that kind of shine in the original, We didn't really ever see where they lived. We only know that they had these burrows from the greater lore around Willow.
Well, no, they were essentially used for comic relief.
Exactly, yeah.
In an already fairly comedic movie.
Right. But this hit really hard. I love this moment.
Tiny high five, because high fives are universal.
Okay.
And then
that's
here's
pretty
the last
much
shot.
it.
Yeah.
Into the unknown, baby.
Yeah, but you can't tell me the big dude standing in the middle, the way he's standing is not meant to evoke, like, feelings of Mad Mardigan being there. Got the ponytail hanging down.
I totally. Oh yeah.
To everything. It's also a look at that weapon. It's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely freaking
awesome.
wild, dude. They were all holding some cool stuff. What is the person next to him? Looks like they're holding some kind of big curved thing.
This over here, like the.
Yeah, what is that?
The blonde lady.
Yeah.
That is part of her garment. That's like, it looks like almost like Doctor Who, like a Doctor Who long scarf. She's not holding anything.
Okay, I thought it was like a big ass bow or some shit.
Yeah, that would have been cool, but no, that's just because it looks like they're standing on some kind of beach and the water has dragged the fabric.
Yeah, and that's where we must go, into the unknown. And it's like, I think it's a really interesting thing. I feel like I was talking about like sorry, I lost my train of thought. Basically, I was like, is part of the messaging, part of the commentary for this film, is it going to get into like environmental talking points or commentary? Because it does talk about quite a bit about balance, about universe correcting itself. It talks about this idea of going into the unknown. I don't know. Plus, we see like a lot of the like industrialization that's happened to the world since the film has taken place.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
Honestly, the feeling that I got is like it's meant to evoke like definitely the feeling of nostalgia for the people who are our age and have seen the movie, but I think it's also saying like it's showing a lot of growth and change in the world, and I think it's what that's meant to tell us as people who are familiar with the world already is that things are going to be very different. There are going to be some things that feel the same and look the same, but everything is changing.
Okay. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to run to the restroom.
Okay. I want to shout out the 3 viewers that Twitch says I currently have. I know that we probably have had more people throughout, but thank you for hanging in here. We did not know we were going to be doing this stream today, so I really appreciate you coming and joining and hanging out for the chat, watching the trailer with us and everything. We're just waiting for Weston to get back now, and then he had something else he wanted to talk about, but who else is excited for this Willow show? Who watched the trailer already and has been hyped up by this? I know Malkav has been in chat, but let me hear from everybody else too. Welcome back.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
So I think there was something else you wanted to say, right? Something else you wanted to talk about?
Oh, I'm just how excited I am for this. I don't know. I could talk about this all day. I love the just. I'm just so excited about all of this. It's such a big deal to me just seeing that world lit up again and alive, and having new characters and creatures and adventures to be had there is super exciting to me, especially because we didn't see a lot of like coastal areas in the film. What we're gonna see, it seems like we're gonna see a lot more of that. Maybe the group travels on water at some point or another. It seems like we're going to traverse just about every climb we can, though. I mean, we're in the air, we're in the sea, we're on land.
Didn't see much desert, but that's okay. I get enough of that
True.
in my daily life.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I just want to point out that they are using a mix of practical and special effects and computer special effects, and it looks so fantastic. They have struck an excellent balance between those two things.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of the physical effects of the original film. I think they did such a marvelous job with all of the art direction, the costuming, all that stuff looks so absolutely fabulous and of its own world. And I'm so glad that they were able to find that same language in the sequel series. That it definitely feels like they found that same kind of, it feels like the world is just alive again.
Yeah.
Whatever they've, all of the costuming they've used, all of the symbols and the characters, it doesn't feel like forced, I guess.
You can tell that a lot of heart went into this.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And we know that like it wouldn't have probably happened if it wasn't for Jonathan Kasdan talking to Ron Howard and kind of like talking about Willow on the set of the Solo story. And yeah, you can tell that like it's starting from like this place of like, a fan, essentially, even if that fan is like, the son of the writer of the Star Wars screenplays. It's still a fan, someone who really enjoyed this movie and wanted to tell more stories in Motherworld. And I mean, as someone who I think we're about the same age and has very similar feelings about Willow. I couldn't be happier. I mean, unless I was cast in it, I could be happier.
So I actually have to get going pretty soon because I don't know if you know, but I have a game to be planning for tomorrow night. So I didn't want to totally cut you off without being able to put in any last words. Is there anything in particular you want to add in before we wrap up?
No, thank you everyone for joining us. We have our podcast up today with our interview with Alan Varney, who wrote the Willow source book, someone we've been using, the book we've been using so often for our research for our podcast, Ignore the Bird. This was a huge opportunity, and it was a really great interview. Alan Varney is a great guest, gave us a lot of awesome feedback, as well as a ton of his history as a writer, as a freelancer, as a gamer. It was a real pleasure. So definitely give us a look at our podcast, Ignore the Bird, Follow the River, wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm trying to drop the link.
Make sure to check us out on...
But
we'll drop the link.
And put a space in it already. Okay, so now the link is in chat.
There you go. And then check us out on Sunday. We're going to be playing... we're going back to Cholt with the Ironhearts, and it's going to be a blast, guys. Definitely join us there, join us then, and thank you for being here now.
Absolutely. Full schedule on nerdcrafty.com. Go check it out. All right.
All right, take care,
Bye,
y'all. Have a good one.
everybody.